The Football Association formalized the laws of football in 1877 in order for their baby, the FA Cup, to be played uniformly by all clubs that entered the competition. Of course, the regulations weren't amended for the final time in 1877. Of course, no. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to be looking at 5 incredible players who changed the entire football law structure all by themselves. Maybe not the entire structure, but they might have added a law or two on their own account. Imagine being so badass that you get them to make rules after you. So before we start, making sure to hit the subscribe button and, turn on the notification bell, all that fun stuff. Okay, you did it. That's great. Let's go. Did you know that penalties weren't introduced until 1891? No clubs used on-field substitutions until 1958, and no player was booked until 1970. Football's still evolving today, obviously, with new developments such as the adoption of VAR in 2018. While regulation changes have been a part of the game since the first person decided to kick a ball into the goal mouth, they're frequently introduced to boost the sport's excitement. As seen with a significant increase in goals scored when England switched to 3 points for a win in 1981. However, there have been instances where a single player has absolutely been responsible for a rule change. So let's look at 5 players who have done such from the history of football, because that's the point of setting up a topic. So, have you ever been irritated by the offside rule? I mean, if you've ever played soccer, football, you know. Bill McCracken is the mastermind behind it all. It could have been a lot worse without his brilliance, though, not gonna lie. Between 1904 and 1924, McCracken spent his entire career at Newcastle United, where he grew concerned with the offside rule, which required 3 players to be between the attacker and the goal at the time, in case you didn't know. McCracken captained both Newcastle United and the Ireland national team during his career. From 1904 to 1924, McCracken was a member of the Newcastle footballs team, helping them win 3 Football League titles and 1 FA Cup. He appeared in 432 games for the Magpies, scoring 8 goals in the process. McCracken appeared in 16 international matches, scoring 1 goal, counting an unofficial encounter against Scotland in 2003, but ignoring 2 victory matches against the same opponents in 1919. Archie Goodall, Billy Scott, Jack Kirwan, and Robert Milne were among his favorite teammates for Ireland, or just among his teammates. I threw favorite in there because special sparkles. He helped organize 2 charity matches featuring elite players during World War I, and he played for England the 6th in both, facing Ireland on the second occasion. McCracken and a fellow defender, Frank Hudspeth, positioned themselves just beyond the midway line, regularly catching forwards off guard. Other teams followed suit, and goals became so few that attendances actually began to decrease, prompting the FA to intervene and do something. For the 1925-26 season, they changed the rule to only 2 defenders, and the number of goals doubled. So thank you so very much, Bill McCracken. JeanMichel Bosman is a Belgian footballer who played as a midfielder in the professional league. The Bosman judgment was issued in 1995 as a result of his legal challenge to the football transfer laws. The European Lord of Justice's landmark decision dramatically transformed the way that footballers are hired, allowing professional players in the European Union to freely move to another club when their contract with their current team expires. Despite being a painfully bad player, the name of JeanMichel Bosman has become synonymous with football since it was connected to the transfer rule. The Bosman rule was named after a Belgian footballer who won the right to leave his team after his contract expired in the European courts. Bosman movements were not a thing until 1995, when they became a mainstay of Football Manager saves. Prior to the judgment, a player remained registered with the club after his contract expired, but he had no control over his compensation at all. Bosman was denied a promotion in 1990, and his pay was reduced by 75%. He sued both his club and UEFA, winning his case and potentially ushering in a new era of player power in football. Jimmy Thorpe is a well-known American football player. James Horatio Thorpe. Oh man, what a name. We should put him in the Hall of Fame just literally for his name alone. So James Horatio Thorpe was a Jarrow-born English footballer. His club, Sunderland, saw him play 139 games as a goalkeeper. After attending Jarrow Central School, he signed when he was only 17 years old. He had a pretty bright career, starting for the club in the 1932-33 season when he was 19. On the 1st of February in 1936, his life and his career were unfortunately cut short when he was kicked in the head and chest after picking up the ball following a back pass in the game against Chelsea at Roker Park. He played till the end of the game. He got kicked in the head, died from it, but played till the end of the game. And then he fell at home and died in the hospital 4 days later from diabetes mellitus and heart failure, hastened by the opposing team's harsh play. Unfortunately, it often takes tragedy to be a rule breaker. And Jimmy Thorpe, a former Sunderland goalie, died in a tragic accident. Thorpe died of injury sustained in a First Division match against Chelsea on the 1st of February in 1936, when, like I said, he was kicked in the head and the chest by an opposing forward attempting to just take the ball from him. At the time, he was only 22. Thorpe, a gifted goalie, left behind a wife and a 3-year-old boy, and his impact on the game that was basically when it became prohibited to challenge the goalkeeper while the ball was in his hands. Which is difficult to believe that beforehand it was just an all-hands, an all-holds-barred brawling match. Give me that ball! Smack! But anyways, that year Sunderland won the league, and his winner's medal was given to his wife, who couldn't afford a headstone for him. Nobody else would have to suffer for those reasons because of Thorpe. So, attaboy, Thorpe. James William Thomas Hill, OBE, was an English footballer who later became a very well-known television personality. He worked as a player, a trade union leader, a coach, a manager, a director, a chairman, a television executive, a presenter, a commentator, an analyst, and an assistant referee during his career. Yeah, that was all one breath. You don't got to say anything. In 1949, he began playing his career at Brentford, and then 3 years later, he moved to Fulham. He successfully pushed for the abolition of the Football League's maximum wage in 1961 as chairman of the Professional Footballers Association. For a lot of years, a maximum wage cap had been a source of contention in football, but it was finally eliminated in 1961 by Jimmy Hill, the then PFA president. No footballer was authorized to make more than €20 per week at the time. Players felt understandably a little bit left out as things changed and clubs became wealthier with the introduction of television and European competition. Hill rallied the soldiers and enlisted the backing of a number of high-profile figures, including Sir Stanley Matthews, a former advocate of the maximum wage. See, Hill organized a strike of Football League players, and after years of attempting, and the FA finally caved, where the fans supported their heroes. Later that year, the maximum wage was abolished, and Johnny Haynes became the first player to earn €100 per week. Schmeichel made his name in his home Denmark, but he's remembered for the 8 glory-filled seasons he spent with Manchester United between 1991 and 1999. Schmeichel had already played more than 40 times for Denmark, and he won a slew of awards in Brøndby before arriving at Old Trafford for the princely price of €500,000. Schmeichel was a 4-time league champion between 1987 and 1991, and he also helped the team win the Danish Cup in the one season that it did win. And in the larger scheme of things, the back pass rule is rather young. I mean, a goalie could pick up the ball that was being passed him along the floor up until 1992. This resulted in defenses employing a variety of mind-numbing, time-wasting tactics, the worst of which was Liverpool's in the 80s, which relied on Grobelaar clutching onto the ball for like 10 minutes, the last 10 minutes of the games, too. It's just boring. The final straw came out at Euro 92 when Denmark stunned the world by winning the competition. And what was their primary strategy, you might ask? Laudrup would put them in front, and Schmeichel would keep the ball for them as long as he could. The FA decided to ban back passes when the Premier League debuted in 1992, and the goals kept coming well into stoppage time. Pretty ironic that Schmeichel's strategy for winning Euro 92 resulted in Fergie time. So, what are your thoughts on all this jibba-jabba nonsense? Do you think that the rules of football will go through with more changes? I mean, come on, everything's got to change over time, right? But let us know in the comment section below. And that's about all we got for today's video, so don't click off. I see you, Tommy and Janessa, I swear. I hope you all enjoyed watching it, and if you did love it, don't forget to like it and share it with your friends. And, yeah, I think I said everything I need to say. So, watch our other videos, and I'll see you later.